Hey folks, welcome to another video. These are the VITURE Luma Pro, and these are the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. In this video, we're going to be comparing the two to determine what are the differences based on my eyes. So the VITURE Luma Pro came out a couple of weeks ago, and I've had a bit of time to explore what's different about these glasses and also what's the same about these glasses versus previous iterations of bird bath display glasses. Now these glasses do have standard triangular bird bath displays with a 52-degree field of view. They have electrochromic dimming with one setting, either on or off essentially. And one of the things that is very similar to the other pair of glasses that I'm going to be comparing them to is a 0.68 inch Sony micro OLED display. The XREAL Air 2 Ultra have two grayscale cameras on the sides, which is actually similar to VITURE's Luma Ultra, but the VITURE Luma Ultra are using a different set of displays. So I can't really compare those two, and I also don't have the Luma Ultra on hand to do that comparison. However, the displays in these glasses are the same Sony 0.68 inch micro OLED display. And what I found in extensive use between the two sets of glasses is that they're very similar, to the point where I could dial in the color scheme on both sets of glasses to be comparable. I will say the Luma Pro has a bit more to offer as far as different color modes that you can select from. But the color options on the two sets of glasses can show comparable panel display color schemes. The brightness, at least to my eyes, was extremely similar, if not the same. When I turned to the top brightness, even though these are rated at 500 nits and these are rated at 1000 nits, I couldn't tell the difference. And I actually had to write to the folks at VITURE to ask, how can I tell the difference? And really, the only way you can do that is to go out in a brightly lit scenario and turn the brightness all the way up and let your pupils dilate. And in that scenario, I still couldn't tell the difference between the brightness. I can only tell you that from a optics perspective, when measured through the optics of the XREAL Air 2 Ultra, XREAL's optical technicians, using machines that can actually measure this, measured their optics to have a brightness through the display, through the optics, of 500 nits. And the folks at VITURE, when measured through the optics with their display technology, same Sony 0.68 micro OLED displays, again, using machines and using trained professionals, came out to 1000 nits brightness. Either way, whether it's 500 nits or 1000 nits, it's too bright for my eyes. I tend to have these at the second or lowest setting possible when I'm consuming media on these glasses, and maybe just a tad bit brighter when I'm outdoors. So again, from a marketing perspective, while you're printing 500 nits or 1000 nits, it doesn't really make a difference to my human eyes. They're both plenty bright enough, and one having a higher brightness level than the other doesn't really make a difference between these two sets of glasses. When I purchased these Air 2 Ultra glasses, the reason I purchased them was because of their 6-DoF capabilities, having 6 degrees of freedom tracked by these two grayscale cameras on the side temples. But what I found is these were also significantly better than the other Air 2 glasses in the Air 2 series of glasses from XREAL. The Air 2 and the Air 2 Pro use slightly different Sony micro OLED displays, and it shows when I'm using these glasses versus using the other Air 2 series glasses. I was excited that these gave me a slightly wider field of view. The electrochromic dimming works great. Overall, these were a pretty good go-to set of glasses for media consumption and for hand gestures using the XREAL Beam Pro. So when I got the Luma Pro, a good comparison would be, how do the displays hold up, since they're the same Sony micro OLED displays? And what I found, and it's kind of interesting, is that even though they're using the same displays, the way that the optical stack works on the VITURE Luma Pros gave me better text clarity and better sharpness for the text over the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. I get better text sharpness and better clarity with the Luma Pro than I do with the Air 2 Ultra. Now I will caveat, everyone's eyes are different. Everyone's facial shape is different. And I have seen reports of people that are having blurriness and pixelation and a lot of other issues with the Luma Pro. And maybe for them, maybe the XREAL Air 2 Ultra might fit their faces better or might work better for them. I'm not saying one is necessarily better than another, but again, for my eyes, the surprise with the Luma Pro was how much sharper and how much better readability I had with text using the Luma Pro versus using the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. Another significant change with the glasses is the fact that the Luma Pro include diopter adjustment. As you can see with the Air 2 Ultra, they don't offer that type of functionality. So for folks that are nearsighted, you can actually do a myopia adjustment down to a -4 correction on each eye. I will say though, with the Luma Pro, if you're using a 16:10 ratio display, the top part of that display is interfered with. There's kind of a little notch where the diopter dial tunes in to your prescription. So if you're using a 16:9 display, if you're using a 1080p format, it's not really noticeable. But if you're using that 16:10 display to get the kind of taller display with 1200p, it does actually make a difference, and it is kind of distracting. Now, while the XREAL Air 2 Ultra do not include those diopters for adjustment, the other thing that's happened with the Air 2 Ultra is they made them so that they're only supporting 1080p even though the display supports 1200p. So you do lose a little bit of that verticality that you can get with the Luma Pro. Is it a huge difference? No. The 1200p display, again, gives you a little bit more verticality over a 1080p display. I'm used to a 16:10 display on my laptop, so it makes it feel a little bit more natural to me. But usually, if you're consuming content, which is what these types of glasses are used for, a 1080p display is what you're used to. And you're used to seeing, if you have a 1200p set of glasses, like both of these displays offer, black bars across the top and bottom. And that's basically what's happening with the display in the Air 2 Ultra. And if you're using 1080p format sources, that's what happens with the Luma Pro as well. So let's dive in a little bit into the marketing behind both of these sets of glasses. With the Air 2 Ultra from XREAL, it says what to expect from the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. They have an ultra titanium design. This is a shiny titanium design in the frames. Ultra environmental sensitivity. I don't know how to prove or disprove that. An ultra immersive experience and an ultra 6 degrees of freedom spatial screen. They were the world's first titanium AR glasses with an extra S at the end. An ultra light outer frame that is 22% lighter at 83 grams. 22% lighter than what exactly? An ultra-thin outer frame with 48% thinner. An ultra-strong aviation-grade titanium, 16 times stronger. And ultra-cool, sleek, and subtle. Now, there's an asterisk on some of these, and as you can see, it says compared to the Air 2 Pro in XREAL's lab. Comparing to their same generation mid-range model, the Ultra, which is their high-end model, is 22% lighter, 48% thinner, and 16 times stronger than their mid-range model. Ultra environmental sensitivity. Now, this is the thing that I was kind of curious about. What does that mean exactly? It doesn't say. Dual 3D environmental sensors, which have precise tracking in milliseconds for instant real-world mapping, ergonomic design, which reduces fatigue for longer, more intuitive use, and incredibly low latency for seamless interactions. Ultra immersion with 3 levels of immersive lens dimming. Again, that electrochromic dimming has kind of a off, mid-range, and totally blocked out. So here is the part that we're going to compare with the Luma Pro. 52 degrees, field of view, which is a 14.9% improvement over the Air 2 Pro, a 154-inch screen at a 13-foot distance, 1080p ultra-sharp display, 120 Hz in 2D and up to 90 Hz in 3D. Each unit receives calibration for color accuracy and Gamma 2.2, where the dark areas have richer details. A perfect, comfortable fit for no matter what head shape or size. They have a 3-point temple adjustment. They have an improved nose pad, again, versus the Air 2 series. And they are TUV certified for eye comfort. They have ultra immersive audio, an ultra status indicator, and a true 6-stop spatial screen. So VITURE's Luma Pro starts out with the marketing term that, as it says here, you'll never forget, and it's a bit controversial. A 1200p 4K-like display. Now, if you look at a 4K spec, 1200p is less than half of what would be considered a 4K display. 1200p is just a bump, again, over 1080p, and it is only a 1200p resolution. What they're trying to convey with the term 4K-like is if you take a 1200p display and you combine it with their optical optimizations that they have in their optical stack, the sharpness that you're getting from these glasses may be comparable to some users to the sharpness that you'd receive if you're looking at a 4K display. It's similar to a term that they used with the VITURE Pro glasses, which was ultra clarity. Now, if they had called this Ultra Clarity 2.0, or if they had called this Beyond Ultra Clarity, I don't think there would be as big of a stigma in the user market. The other thing I will mention is that in some foreign languages, if you try to translate 4K-like, it doesn't make sense. Not that it truly makes a lot of sense, honestly, when you're thinking about it from the term 4K, even in English. But in some foreign languages, it was super confusing. And some users actually couldn't get to the Learn More description here, where it tells you about that optical stack. And if you click Learn More, it takes you out to a blog entry that gives you a bit more of an explanation around the rationale behind that 4K-like term. I don't necessarily think that the displays look like they're 4K. I will say, though, they're very clear, very nice big screen displays, which is what you want from a pair of these types of display glasses. VITURE Luma Pro have a 52-degree field of view for breathtaking immersion, which is 15% larger than VITURE Pro. Want bigger, that's going to take you to another model of VITURE glasses, the Beast, that's coming out later this year. They do have electrochromic film for full immersion anytime, anywhere. It is only one single adjustment on the Luma Pro, as opposed to two on the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. The myopia adjustment is tailored to your vision. Again, Luma Pro supports -4. And they do offer a lens shade available for order for the outside if you need full immersion and the electrochromic dimming doesn't suit your needs. They have flexible arms for a gentle fit, tilt-adjustable arms, and ergonomic nose pads, all things that both sets of glasses offer, actually. While XREAL focused on titanium, VITURE focused on the dual color injection molding, and they have this kind of cool LED thing going on one of the arms as well. So again, it says soft bendable temples that feel as good as they look. And there's those dynamic lighting effects. They've added a magnetometer to minimize drift. They have 2D to 3D conversion with their immersive 3D application, and they have the ability to customize screen sizes using their Spacewalker application. So overall, these glasses from XREAL, the Air 2 Ultra, they're high-end Air 2 series glasses. And these glasses, the VITURE Luma Pro, have very, very similar specifications. The differences are the Air 2 Ultra have 6-DoF tracking with grayscale sensors on the sides. The Luma Pro have a central RGB camera, which is yet to be enabled, but also have diopter dials across the top. They both offer a 52-degree field of view. They both offer electrochromic dimming, which is very similar when at the darkest and at the lightest setting. The Air 2 Ultra offer kind of a mid-range setting as well, which kind of darkens the environment, but not fully, so you can still kind of see through, but it still feels like sunglasses. The text clarity and sharpness on the VITURE Luma Pro is a little bit better to my eyes, but again, each person's face and eyes is a little bit different, so it could be very subjective. I kind of feel like the titanium of the Air 2 Ultra feels a little bit more premium versus the translucent plastic of the VITURE Luma Pro. I will say though, the VITURE Luma Pro feel a little bit lighter in my hands and on my face than the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. From an all-day comfort perspective, both sets of glasses offer very similar comfort on my face, and I feel like the flexible arms and temple adjustments on both sets of glasses are very similar. Does one set of glasses edge out the other? It really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for 6 degrees of freedom right now, these are the ones to go with because of the 2 grayscale sensors on the XREAL Air 2 Ultra. However, VITURE is coming out with a Luma Ultra within the next month or so, which also has these grayscale sensors and has a newer version of the Sony Micro OLED displays. If you're looking to have an all-in-one glasses that has a myopia adjustment, then the Luma Pro might be the best for you. And right now, it's unproven what this sensor in the center is going to do. It may offer some form of spatial display tracking. While I didn't tear either pair of glasses apart, I can tell you from my own eyesight, they're using the same Sony Micro OLED displays. The optics are definitely somewhat different. Sharpness, text clarity, definitely better on the Luma Pro. Media consumption, viewing device perspective, they're very comparable. And from a marketing perspective, while both offered comparisons to it's lighter or it's thinner or it's better, you have to realize that they're only comparing to their own products, their previous product lines, other things that are in their own ecosystem. So VITURE is not comparing themselves to XREAL, and XREAL is not comparing themselves to VITURE. They're both trying to improve on their own previous products. And I feel like with the VITURE Luma series, they have improved over the VITURE Pro and the VITURE 1 series that fell before it. With XREAL, they've moved on from the Air 2 series to the XREAL 1 and 1 Pro, which are powered by an X1 chip in the glasses, which enables 3 degrees of freedom and different display modes directly from the glasses themselves. VITURE have a device coming out later this year called Beast, which is going to also introduce to the market 3 degrees of freedom controlled by a chip on the glasses. So both of these companies are innovating, but also imitating, if you will. And I think that's a good thing because it's only going to make both companies' glasses better in the future. XREAL really kind of already moved on from the 1 series. They've got a partnership right now with Qualcomm and Google, bringing to market an optical see-through display headset, which looks remarkably like these glasses. It's called Project Aura, and it's coming sometime in 2026. I'm excited to see how that Android XR ecosystem fits together with a display glasses style. I'm also excited for what's coming from VITURE in the next few months, because VITURE is going to have a set of glasses similar to these XREAL Air 2 Ultra called the Luma Ultra with grayscale 6-DoF sensors on the sides. What's concerned me over the years with the 6-DoF enabled glasses is software development and a software ecosystem. Very few applications have come out for XREAL's previous Nreal Lite product or for the XREAL Air 2 Ultra that support 6 degrees of freedom. I'm hoping that with the emergence of the Luma Ultra, that'll bring competition, that'll bring new innovative software to both platforms. So the Air 2 Ultra might get some cool new 6DoF enabled applications. And the folks at VITURE have teased even going to Gamescom to showcase some new AR games using the Luma Ultra. So having both of those models in the marketplace, again, is encouraging competition, is encouraging developers to seek out and develop for these emerging platforms. What I need to see, though, is I need to see good software development kit support from both companies to prop up those developers, to give third-party developers not just a reason to support your platform, but an ease of use and an economical reason to do so. This has been kind of a longer video than I expected. I intended to just kind of go over the marketing of VITURE's Luma Pro versus the XREAL Air 2 Ultra because they're very similar on my face as far as the display technology and the triangular bird bath optics. But it's turned into something a little bit more. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative. I hope I've given you the ability to gain some insight into these products. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.